insomnia itself has generally got a beta spindle at CZ, very tightly restricted to the CZ area. And let me pull up a paper on
So
that.
you're thinking about 12 to 14 at CZ is what you would consider. I know I'm not being specific, right? I was just trying to get an idea of where, because that would be less arousing. As soon as you move off the right, it's less arousing.
Let me pop up the paper that we did. This is a research domain criteria paper with 390 something, if I recall, 380 something maybe people in it. This is the large group. The bottom figures here are a subset of this overall group that didn't have a DSM categorization. It was just anybody with sleep spindles. This is the ADD ADHD subset of, I don't know, 30, 40 people out of this overall subset. So it's not a different pattern from one DSM categorization to the other. Beta spindles are beta spindles that are seen frontocentrally. We generally try to get them treated at the vertex. And this is essentially the hot spot. If you
That looks like FZ.
Well, that's the screwy images from Brain Resource Company. This is FC and FCCZ area basically, and what we end up basically seeing is that spindle is the underlying wakefulness drive. Orexin, you say, well, what's wakefulness caused by? What neurotransmitter? Is it norepinephrine or dopamine? The wakefulness drive is at the brainstem, hypothalamus level. It's orexin. Orexin is your wakefulness drive. You have a sleep drive and a wake drive. And as the wake drive fades away, you'll be able to fall asleep. Well, this is the wakefulness drive, and some people, it's extremely powerful. And their sleep drive has trouble overpowering it, but it's at the midline, not to either side. Now, SMR on the right side is good for physical stabilization, but for sleep, the vertex is really the hot spot that you need to catch with it. And the sleep spindle is what you're training, so that as they're starting to fall asleep and a vertex sharp wave happens, the onset insomnia is treated effectively, as is wakefulness. During the night, you cycle back through stage 2, vertex wave popped you back awake, unless you have a good sleep spindle. So training SMR at the vertex gets you a good sleep spindle, and it treats the sleep disorder. Now, the same feature was looked at in another study, but they restricted the DSM categorization and had ADD as a substantial piece of the group. That this wasn't an open any diagnostic category that had beta spindle. They pulled beta spindle from a couple of specific groups. And what they basically found is that impulse control and hyperactive behaviors were what they found, because again, they picked primarily the ADD population. We found insomnia, hyperactivity, impulsivity as the three, but insomnia was by far the stronger if you looked across all categories. So they picked up impulse control and hyperactivity in their somewhat of a replication of what we had done. But spindling excess beta ends up being a major feature that cuts across diagnostic categories, and again, impulsivity, hyperactivity, but also insomnia.